How we thank you for this day. How we thank you for this hour. How we thank you for all that you have done for us. How we thank you for how you watched over us as we slept and slumber. Now, God, it's preaching time. And I only have one request and one plea. And that is you take charge of this preaching moment. Take these lips of clay mold and make them into what you have them to say. And we'll be careful and cautious to give you all the praise and all the glory. For us in Jesus' name we do pray. And all the people of God say amen. People of God said amen. Amen. We thank God tonight for all that has transpired this tonight and throughout this week. Thank God to your lovely pastor and his wife. Amen. Give them a hand. Thank Pastor Clark and Sister Clark for being so hospitable to me this week. To their lovely, kind family who have shown so much love and took time out of their busy schedule to just make sure all of our needs were taken care of. And I want to thank them so much for doing so. To even the members of the Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church, I want to thank you all for every kind word that you have spoken to us, to these ushers who have greeted us and looked so beautiful all week. I want to thank them for their kind smile. To all the deacons and choirs and musicians, and to all these preachers who have graced us all this week, and to some of these my brothers and friends who have been through us throughout the day, I thank all of you. And you don't have to be nice to folks. I'm a firm believer if folks will be nice to you, the least thing you can do is tell them thank you. And so I thank God. I thank God for that. I thank God for each of you who have shown, to even my lovely wife who's watching via Facebook. Amen. I thank her tonight. She always has a way of checking up on her husband. And so I thank God for her tonight. For each of you, I have been blessed by being in your presence this week. Amen. I'm almost saddened to even start preaching. Amen. I've already told my wife I'm just as sad as can be, because as soon as I get through preaching tonight, it's all over with. And I'm trying my best to push it a little longer and a little longer. But I might as well go on and do it and get it over with. But that just means that when people have been that kind to you, you don't mind staying around. You don't mind being attached to them. I have been blessed by being in your pastor's presence, to be able to drink from the fountain of wisdom that he has. You, Mount Sinai, you have a jewel when it comes. I have been blessed by being able to drink from the fountain of wisdom that he has. He has so much wisdom imparted in him. Yes, sir. Just 15 minutes of talking to him will bless your life. And I tell any young preacher that is in this area, if you'll stay committed to him and stay submissive to him, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. He'll bless your ministry if you'll stay submitted to him. And I thank God that I'm able to say that I've been able to pass through his way. Amen. Amen. I might as well go and do what I got to do. I'm trying my best just to ease it all, but I might as well go and get started and get it over with. Head on back to North Mississippi. Amen. Thank God for each of you. Exodus. Chapter 14.
Yes, sir.
Exodus chapter 14. All these brothers who have made my day so fun and hilarious.
All right.
Dr. Bohannon and Williams and Pastor Keys and Brother Lewis and even Dr. T.T. Moore. Thank God for all your doctor and Brother Pastor Clark's son-in-law. Thank him so much. Pastor Temple, thank him so much. Amen. I'm serious. I'm about to tears. I don't want to leave. But I thank them for being so special. Exodus chapter 14. I want to begin reading at verse number 11.
All right. It's all right.
And they said unto Moses,
that's good, Doc.
Because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness. Wherefore hast thou dealt with us to carry us forth out of Egypt.
All right.
Is not this the word that we tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians?
Yes, sir.
For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall never see them again. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Look to your neighbor tonight on this last night. If you're not antisocial, look to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, he's going to handle this one. Amen. God bless you. He's going to handle this one. He's going to handle this one. Tonight, as I begin this divine sermonic dissertation, I want to share with you that every fight that hits your life is not your fight. Let me share with some brother, sister, church member, even pastor. Every situation that comes up in your life is not always the time for you to react. I thank God tonight that sometimes God will put me in some situations so that I won't have to stand up, but so that I can sit down so that he can handle it. My brothers and sisters, there are sometimes in your life that every now and then you have to close your mouth. You have to close your thinking. You have to stand back and let God have his way, because truth of the matter is, sometimes in my life there are burdens that begin to be too hard for me. There are things that are too stressful for me, and God has to speak up and say to me that this fight doesn't belong to you, but this fight I'm going to handle it. Somebody need to understand, on your job, there are sometimes you don't need to cuss your boss out. Sometimes you don't need to cuss your co-workers out. I know you want to tell them where they can go and how quick you can get them there, but sometimes you just need to walk away, close your mouth, and let the Lord handle it. I know you got some family in your family that I know you get tired of seeing them every time they show up at the family reunion. It just kills all the joy that you're trying to build up. But instead of you going to tell them to go home or don't tell them to come by, I dare you to just go and enjoy yourself and let the Lord handle it. I know you got some church members in your church. Every time you see them walk in, it just kills your spirit. Every time you see them come to choir rehearsal, they're the last one to show up, always the last one to complain. Every time you come to church, it seems like every time business meeting comes around, they're the last one to show up for 11 o'clock worship, but they beat the pastor to the church when they come to a business meeting. Instead of you sitting there complaining about them, instead of you sitting there talking about them, I dare you to just close your mouth and let the Lord handle it. I wish I had somebody here tonight that every now and then it's time for me to sit down and let the Lord stand up. Every now and then I got to learn that I need to close my mouth and let God handle it. Like kids, every now and then, even with some friends, on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. Everybody talking about your spin and you wondering how in the world they're getting out there. Well, let me help you out. Let me twiddle your ear and understand that the reason is out there because you're telling the wrong person. Sometimes it ain't your enemy, it's your close friend. I wish I found somebody to understand that sometimes it ain't your enemy that's stabbing you in the back. It's the folks that's in your proximity. Because sometimes some folks in my circle don't always mean me some good. You got some no good folks in your circle. They ready to see you die. They ready to see you crucified. They don't want to see you go forward. They don't want to see you get that promotion. But I got some good news for you tonight. It does not matter what your enemy say, but I thank God, God is still in control.
Yes, sir.
He's going to handle this one. I don't care how it looks, brothers and sisters. I don't care how it looks, people of God. Don't worry about this big mouth billionaire that don't even know what 2 + 2 is, let alone try to run this country. Don't worry about trying to talk about him. You just put him in God's hand. You just step out the way and say, Lord, you handle it. Now, one thing about it, when I let God handle it, I have to learn that I need to vacate so he can occupy. Y'all miss me here. The reason sometimes God can't occupy is too many of us trying to vacate to occupy the position. That's why peace can't come to the church, because you too busy trying to have it your way. Instead of you listening to what the man of God say, you trying to tell him how you feel about it, how you think it ought to go. But let me help somebody here tonight. Church don't run off of what you think about. I know you had a good vision last night, but maybe that wasn't no vision, it was just a sweet dream. Because let me suggest to you, God only talks to one good man in the church. He only talks to one leadership in the church. And no matter what vision you got for it, God said, miss my way or no way. And I've learned how to let's just stand back and let the Lord handle it. Israel has just left Pharaoh's house. They have just left out of the kingdom of Pharaoh. After 400 years of slavery. They asked the Lord to send them a deliverer. And now go ahead about the text. He said he sends a man who has a record of being a murderer. Now, Dr. Dixon, this is what shouted me. That I want to bless somebody with tonight. That it does not matter to God what your past may be. You are still usable for his service. And I'm getting tired of these churches trying to look for the perfect preacher, the perfect pastor. Let me suggest to you, none of us in here are perfect. We all got some skeletons in the closet. We all got some messed up background. But what I thank God for is he was able to take my background, clean my mess up, and was able to put me in some ministry. And I know I got some of y'all sitting around this pulpit tonight that think you the best thing since cheese and cracker. But go on and be honest with me. And let somebody know you was messed up from the floor. You did some of the same stuff even your congregation doing. But you ought to thank God, God cleaned you up and was able to use you for his ministry. He took an ex-murderer and allowed him to lead the biggest congregation out of Israel.
Yes, sir.
He uses Moses to lead them out of Egypt.
Yes, sir.
And Moses said, now Lord, you know I got a speech impediment. I got a stuttering problem.
Yeah.
He said, every time I get before somebody and I get nervous, I begin to stutter. Yeah. He said, now what can I do? He said, listen, I've already prepared the way. Yes, I've talked to your brother Aaron.
Yeah. That's good.
And I've told Aaron to go and speed your mouthpiece.
Yeah.
He said, now Lord, who shall I tell them sent me?
All right.
Now what I love about God, God don't need no long answer to prove who he is. He just spoke up and just said, I am. No matter what they tell you, just tell them, I am. Now Lord knows I had to ask God, why would you send such a short answer with Moses to go up against such a mega Pharaoh? God said, well, what you don't understand is, I know that Pharaoh but each of their gods had their own individual capabilities of what they could do. But he said, when Moses go before Pharaoh, I need Moses to understand, when Pharaoh asks him, what God sent you before me, you just tell him, I am sent you. Now what that signifies to Pharaoh is that I am whatever I need to be. I don't need no other Godhead. I don't need no other God. I am what I am. If you need rain, I am that God. If you need food, I am that God. If you need healing, I am that God. If you need finances, I am that God. I wish I had somebody here tonight that understand you serve a I am God. And whatever you need him to be, he is. Whatever you need, grandmother said, he is what I need him to be.
Yes, sir.
I am since me and I'm not going to show your intelligence or delay the time. You understand that Moses went up against his upbringing father. And there he goes. Tells him that the Lord said, let my people go.
That's it.
You know the story. After a few plagues, Pharaoh finally softens his heart when he causes him his firstborn child.
Yes, sir.
He calls Moses back before him and tells him, listen, you tell your people to pack up and get out of my kingdom. Now they are leaving out of their kingdom. Here now, Israel is being led through the wilderness. And here while leading through the wilderness, they end up what we call at a Red Sea. And while at the Red Sea, Israel does what we do now. They yet complain.
Have mercy, Doc. Have mercy.
Yeah, they began to say that Moses said, now listen, didn't we tell you to leave us where we were? Did we not tell you there was enough graves in Egypt that you had to bring us out here in the wilderness to die? Now, brothers and sisters, there are a few ideas in the text to read. I want to let you know God's going to handle it, and we're going home tonight. The first reason God going to handle it is because he had to let Israel know that he is God. Now, I want somebody to understand, before now, the only God that Israel ever knew was Pharaoh. Pharaoh was their bread giver. Pharaoh was their money financial giver. Pharaoh made them understand that can't nobody else bless you like I can bless you. And so God said, before I can get them to the promised land, I got to break their mentality to let them understand that it ain't Pharaoh that bless you, but it's me that bless you. Y'all ain't catching me up in here. Can I suggest to some of you in here tonight that the reason you're still going through trials and tribulations, the reason this country is still in a turmoil, is because we hadn't yet realized that God is still God. The reason we hadn't yet realized it is because we're still looking to the White House to bless you, when it ain't the White House that bless you, it's God that bless you. Because even when the government is gone, God's still going to be around. Even because, let me suggest to somebody here, God ain't never ran out of no money. God ain't never ran out of no finances to help bless you. Because let me suggest to you, every tree that's in this world belongs to God. And every time you think you got low, God just puts up another tree. That's why he said the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. And before God can truly bless you, he got to let you realize that he is God. And some of us, truth of the matter is, we don't believe that he is God. That's when you got deacons fighting against preachers. That's when you got choir members fighting against ushers. I know there's ain't gonna be no shouting sermon tonight. That's when you got church folks, church congregations ended up in courts because of church conflicts. Because we hadn't recognized that God is God. Are y'all with me here? Because when you recognize that God is God, I know not to come in his house and act like no fool. And it bothers me that folks will leave home with hell in them to come to a place is God.
Yeah.
I show them because here, watch this.
You helping us?
Israel is complaining, but Mother Clark, they're complaining to the wrong man. They are fussing at Moses because they ended up at a Red Sea. But it wasn't Moses' fault that they got there. Because Moses and Israel were following the same element that led them by day and night. If you do your history of the text, it was a cloud that led them by day. And a pillar of fire that led them by night. In other words, the reason they ended up at the Red Sea was not because of Moses, but because of God. Lean over, touch your neighbor, he led them that way. God led him this way. And I want to suggest to my people of God, my church members, to understand that sometimes God will lead us to some Red Seas. Sometimes God will lead you to some obstacles. But baby, let me give you hope tonight. If he led you that way, trust me, he can take care of you while you're there.
Yes, sir.
He said, listen, he said, now, this is what I want you to understand. Now, he says to the original language of verse number 13, he said, ye, the original language of verse number 13 ought to read as, ye shall never see the Egyptians in the same way, nor under the same circumstances again.
That's it.
Verse 13 reads in your Bible there that you would never see them again.
That's it.
But the original language said that you would never see them under the same circumstances again. In other words, God was telling Israel that Egypt was about to undergo not a transformation, but a metamorphosis.
Come on.
And understand there's a difference between being transformed and having a metamorphosis. Can I help you tonight? When I look at Batman and Superman, in order for Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne to become who they needed to be, he needed a phone booth and a bat cave. Y'all ain't catching me here. Same man, just transformed. But what God was saying to Israel was, Egypt was going to take on a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. In other words, they're not going to have just an outer transformation, but they're going to have a complete transformation. Y'all ain't catching me here. And can I suggest to you tonight that that's the reason a lot of us in church still got some hell in us, is because we're being transformed and not having a metamorphosis. Y'all ain't catching me here. Because let me suggest to you, when Paul declares in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17 that if a man be in Christ, he's a new creature. All things are passed away and behold, all things are made new. Paul was not talking about a transformation, but he was talking about a metamorphosis. In other words, Dr. Baker, here we got a lot of people who are being transformed. In other words, they know how to put on the church clothes. They know how to talk the church talk. They know how to sing the church song. And let me bless you tonight, they know how to preach the preachers preach. But they haven't been changed from the inside. Oh, they talking to me. And my brother and sister, if you're going to be a true child of God, there must be a complete transformation, a complete metamorphosis. In other words, I got to change some of the stuff that I used to do. They won't be in, you won't see them under the same circumstances again. And I want to bless somebody's heart tonight to understand that even in your enemies, God said he getting ready to do a metamorphosis. You won't even understand who your enemies is anymore. Because God wants to show you that he is God. Second in text, not only does he does it to show them who there is God.
Preach, Reverend.
But he's going to handle it to give Israel favorable insight. Now, hear what Israel was suffering with, Dr. Moore.
Yeah, I'm here with you, Doctor.
The reason they could not get from where they are to where they needed to go is because their mind was focused on what was before them.
I got you. Yes, sir. Help me.
Israel could not see how God was already blessing them because they were too worried about the seed that was in front of them. And sometimes, my brothers and sisters, the reason we are held back as children of God and as child of God and as people of God is because we cannot move forward because we're too busy focused on the obstacle that's in front of us. But what I love about God is, although Israel was suffering with what I call a horrifying hindsight syndrome, I thank God I serve a God who can look beyond my hindsight and have insight. In other words, what Israel saw before them as a seed, God saw as a pathway. Come on. What Israel saw as a death, God saw as life. Y'all ain't catching me here. What Israel saw as a step down, God saw as a step way. Because what God has the capability of doing is looking in my problem and seeing what's below it. Y'all still ain't catching me here. What Israel saw was water, but what God saw what was beneath it. He saw a dirt road that could carry them where they needed to go. And somebody here, you ought to thank God that God has favorable insight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
He looked in their problem and was able to see a way out of their problem. Are y'all with me here tonight? In their problem, see a way out.
Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, we ought to be thankful that we're serving a God that even when we don't need to see, he will allow us to see. And the reason some of us are stuck where we are too busy trying to look at where we're going. We're trying to look at what we're seeing. And I learned, Pastor Clark, while I've been in my tenure at St.Peter Missionary Baptist Church, I do not argue, I'm not fussing, and I'm not fighting with folks because they're not knowledgeable of the word. I'm not fighting with them because they don't know the word. I'm not fighting with them because they are ignorant of the word. But I'm fighting with them because they can't see where they're going. And my brothers and sisters, the reason why we all got that disease in us, every last person in here tonight, you got that same disease in Israel. You can't move forward because you're too busy looking at what's before you. But I wish I had somebody here tonight that every now and then you'll walk out on faith. Because if God said go, you ain't got no other choice but to go. And sometimes you can stagnate yourself because you're too busy worried about what's in front of you when God has already seen what's beyond where you're going. And I thank God tonight that I serve a God who said I walk by faith and not by sight. Every now and then you just got to close your eyes and step out on faith. He gives them favorable insight. Oh, he tells Moses, he said, Moses, I want you to stretch out your rod.
That's what he said.
Stretch out your rod. He said, that same thing that I gave you from the beginning. He said, I want you to use that same thing to stretch out across the water.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He said, Moses, I'm going to call the wind to blow and to part the sea so that the Israelites can walk by on dry land. Can I help a few preachers around here? And son, ain't no need you keep going out here trying to find the quickest scheme, the quickest get to get your church filled up. God has already told me to tell you tonight that he gave it to you from the foundations of the world. The same stick that you sit out there on Sunday morning, the same stick don't draw a man. I ain't no need you going out here trying to find some hip-hop singer, some doo-drop singer, some flip praise thing. He said, I've already given it to you from the beginning. The word that I gave to you from the beginning, it'll be the same word that'll pull it back in. Y'all ain't catching me here. I know sometimes it seems like you're getting more folks leaving than coming in, but he just said, keep on preaching. Every rod that you get every Sunday morning when you stick with the word of God, that's your rod. Now, wind to blow.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
They said he allowed the wind to blow all night.
Yeah.
And Israel was able to walk by on dry land.
Yes, sir.
Now, there's something that happens.
Made a road.
Because as Israel is waiting on the sea to part,
Yes, sir.
Pharaoh has caught up with him.
Yeah.
All right.
He's caught up with him, Dr. Clark, but he yet can't touch him.
Look at it.
And the reason why, Pastor Keith, is because God has called a maneuvering to take place. The same cloud and fire that he used to lead them, he maneuvers it so that the cloud is no longer before them, but is behind them. And as it's behind them, it comes in the middle of Pharaoh and Israel.
Yes, sir.
Now God, well, good God Almighty,
Yeah.
what he does now is, instead of leading them, he's protecting them. Catching me here. In other words, he maneuvered the clouds, watch this here, so that Israel can see the position of Pharaoh, but Pharaoh couldn't see the position of Israel. Y'all ain't probably here. Can I suggest to you that there's some things in your life, there's some clouds in your life that God has allowed to cover your life? Your enemy can't understand how in the world you still being blessed, but every time you notice when your enemy getting ready to do you wrong, it's because God has allowed you to see through the cloud. Text said that as the cloud sat in between them, neither one of them came near to the other.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So text says, as they are walking by on dry land,
All right.
text said that he told Moses, he said, Moses, I'm going to harden the heart of Pharaoh again,
All right.
that he shall pursue after Israel. Now he says to Moses, you just tell the people to stand still and watch. Put a pin right there and I'll be back here. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Pharaoh begins to try to pursue after Israel.
All right.
But I got the last thing I want to tell you as I bid you good night. God's going to handle it.
Mitchell.
Not just so that Israel will know that he is God. Not just to give Israel favorable insight. But he's going to handle it so that Israel's enemy will leave them alone. God says to Moses, you tell Israel to just stand still
Yes, sir.
and watch.
Yeah.
Close their mouth, keep their peace,
Yes, sir.
and watch.
Wow.
Close their mouth,
Yes, sir.
keep their peace, and watch. I'll be back at it in a minute. He said because the enemy that they have behind them now, they will never see them again. Can I suggest to you tonight that God tells us through the voice of Israel, he says he must handle this one so that Israel will let go of what's holding them in the past. God had to destroy a leak that was holding them where they were. Y'all ain't catching me here. And the reason some of us are stuck where we are is because we're studying holding on to links to our past. Feel like I know I'm in Meridian, Mississippi. Y'all don't need nothing like this tonight. But I come from North Mississippi where there are a few churches that they can't move forward because they started holding on to the third pastor that got fired out the same church. Still trying to hold on to some of the stuff that he was doing when it didn't work while he was there. And now they still want to hold the preacher that's there now to the same rope. And it didn't work then, it ain't working now. Y'all ain't talking to me here. But some stuff in your life you got to let go. I know that man that broke your heart, he hurt your heart, left you all by yourself, left you for a whole nother woman that been 3 years ago, and you can't see the good man in front of you now because you're still blaming the bad girl that left you. I know that you some new friends, some new family, and you can't go forward because you're holding on to what's behind you. God knew before I get Israel to the promised land, before they can truly see who I really am, I need to destroy a link of their past. He says, I'm going to harden the heart of Pharaoh.
Yes, sir.
But he will pursue after Israel.
Yeah.
Now, theologians say, and I don't want to insult no preachers, I want you to understand. They do declare that we don't know if Pharaoh went in or he stayed out.
That's right.
But somebody did die.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe that. Yes, sir.
And watch the text.
Yes, sir.
God told Israel, the reason I'm going to do it and kill Israel, kill Egypt, is not only so that you would know that I am God, but Pharaoh too. And I need to bless somebody here tonight. The reason God gonna handle it is so that you can sit down and folks would know who your daddy really is. I wish you'd touch your neighbor, tell your neighbor they better leave me alone before I tell my daddy. I'm leaving tonight, Pastor Dixon, but that's the other thing in text. I gotta live that thing before I go. Now, one thing Israel had right at the Red Sea was that sea was a grave. Israel was right when they said the sea was a grave. But they were wrong because what they saw as a grave for them was only a grave for their enemy. And let me bless somebody here tonight. I need you to understand and stop your mentality of thinking that somebody else's execution is your punishment. Because let me suggest to you something that go on in my life that seems like an execution. God is just punishing some folks for doing you wrong. And I want to suggest to somebody here tonight, you wondering why you got sick and everybody left your side, but all of a sudden you got healed, and because God would just execute some folks. You wondering why you got broken, folks stopped calling you to borrow money, and all of a sudden you saw money coming in from the back door. God would just execute some folks. You wondering why every Sunday you were getting folk, and now you got a dry spell going on, folk dying in your congregation, but as soon as them folk die, God sent 2 or 3 more folk that don't mind being a part of the church. God would just execute some folks. And I wish I had somebody here that'll thank God tonight that he executed some folks in your life. And don't you think that execution is your punishment? Because let me help you, Dr. Clark. I preach a little better since some of them jokers done left. I sang a little better since some of them jokers done left. I got more peace in my life since some of them jokers done left. I got more happiness since some of them jokers done left. I got more money in my pocket since some of them jokers done left. And somebody here, you ought to thank God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't get confused. He's going to handle me. He's going to handle me this way. That's enough. That's enough. I don't need to learn because what your enemy need to know is the pathway was made for your feet and not theirs. And sometimes the problem will come when you are trying to allow other folks to cross on your pathway. The danger will come when you're trying to let other folks travel in your blessing. But let me suggest to you, when God blesses you, every pathway that he gives for you ain't for everybody else. Some folks you just got to leave where they are. I know they're your family, but baby, leave them where they are. I know they're your friend, but leave them where they are. I know they're your church member, but leave them where they are. Because let me suggest to you, if they are that mean where they can't learn how to push on their own, ain't no need of you sitting trying to pull them. Y'all ain't talking to me here. And that's why I thank God tonight that I've learned how to let God handle it. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
That was this preacher who one day ran into this atheist. Every time the preacher tried to encourage somebody and save someone, the same atheist would come behind him and destroy everything that he had tried to build up.
All right. All right.
One day as the atheist's son got sick,
Yes, sir.
as the preacher was doing his rounds in the hospital, the preacher saw him and went by and began to pray for his son. As the preacher was praying for his son, the atheist walked in, pulled him by the arm, and began to cuss him out. Began to talk to him in very vulgar language. He even got to the point where he wanted to fight the preacher. As nurses and doctors came in, they began to get in between the two preachers, the preacher and the atheist. And as they were getting in between them, the atheist got a hit off on the preacher.
Yes. Preach, Reverend.
One of the doctors looked at him and said, "Now listen, I know this is a hospital, but your manhood has just been challenged." He said, "Now what I want my nurses to do is take your hands off this man." He said, "Now sir, however you want to defend yourself, you go head on and do it." The preacher looked at the doctor with tears in his eyes and just said, "I'm going to let the Lord handle it."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good God.
As he turned around and walked out of the room, the young man that was laying on the table began to get a little better. He began to open his eyes and begin to talk. But as he began to talk, his daddy looked back at him and said, "Son, what happened to you?" The young man spoke up and said, "I was on my way to die. But that preacher stopped by and he prayed for me." Daddy looked at him and said, "I tell you what, don't talk that preacher stuff around me." He said, "I walked in and saw that preacher praying for you, and me and him had a round or two." Son laid there with tears in his eyes and said, "Daddy, I pray that this doesn't come back on you." A few months later, as they were going through, his daddy woke up one day, wasn't feeling good. They took him to the hospital, and as the doctor began to diagnose him, the doctor explained to him and said, "We don't know how this has come to be. But the same sickness that was about to kill your son has now ended up in your body." The man sat there with tears in his eyes.
Watchman.
As they rode him to the next available bedroom, he got out of the wheelchair and crawled in the bed. And while in the bed, he began to ball up and tears began to come in his eyes. And Dr. Bailey, when the young man left out of the room to go down the hall
I hear some of your
and
voice.
get a drink of coffee, as he was coming back, he noticed the same preacher coming around the corner of the wall. Preacher looked at him in his eyes and said, don't I know you? The young man looked at him and said, "Yes, sir. I'm the young man that you prayed for in the bed as I was preparing to die." He said, how are you doing? He said, "I'm doing well, but somehow the sickness sickness that I had in my body has ended up in my daddy's body, and now he's on the same table getting ready to die. Lord, he told him, he said, can you take me to your daddy's room? The young man looked at him and said, I don't think that's a good idea. The last time you and my daddy got together, you all had an altercation. He hit you and you told him that you were going to let the Lord handle it. The preacher looked at him and said, he said, I tell you, I need to see your daddy, because young man, if anything is going to save your daddy, it's going to be because I have stopped by to see him. He said, because the young man took him to his daddy's room. His daddy was laying in the bed. His eyes were closed. He told him, he said, Daddy, that preacher is here to see you. Lord, he said, that preacher is here to see you. His daddy opened his eyes. He began to look at the preacher. Tears began to fall from his eyes. The preacher grabbed him by the hand. He said, Sir, I don't mean to bring this up, but when you struck me, you told, yes, Lord, when you struck me for praying for your son, when you cussed me out for praying for your son, when you talked about me for praying for your son, the doctors asked me how was I going to handle it. I told the doctor that I was going to let the Lord handle it. And I've come to tell you that God, he's handling it. The reason you're sick is because God is handling it. But I got good news. I serve a forgiving God. Y'all don't hear me. The preacher took him by the hand. The old man, he opened up his mouth. He said, Mr. Preacher, I know I've done you wrong. I know I did you wrong. I put my hands on a man of God. I said some things I shouldn't have said. And the Lord, he's dealing with me because I dealt with you. But Mr. Preacher, before I die, all I want to tell you is I'm sorry for what I've done. Y'all don't hear me. By that time, the old doctor came in, did his individual, his daily checkup. He checked the man out, and as he was checking him out, he noticed that his fever left him. As he checked him out, he noticed his blood pressure came down. As he checked him out, he noticed that the disease began to deteriorate. He looked at the man. He said, Mister, I don't know what happened, but your disease had left your body. Y'all don't hear me. The old man jumped up out of his bed. He said, I know what happened. That Jesus healed my body. I got good news tonight. Whatever you're going through, let God handle it. He's able to fix what is broken. He's able We were in sin. We had to live. We had to live. They put a cross on his shoulder. March here up to Calvary's mountain. He already died to fight it. Sunday morning, he got up. You know he got up. You know he got up with all power, all power, all power, all power, all power. Help me tonight. Grab your neighbor by the hand. Shake it real good. Shake it real firm. Look up in the eye and say, neighbor, I got good news. Go on and thank him because God, he's working it out. He's working it out. He's working it out. He's working it out. Shout it. Shout it. Praise his name. He's worthy. He's worthy. He's worthy. Anybody know he's worthy? Anybody know he's worthy? Anybody tried him? Anybody tried him? What my witnesses that you have? Anybody tried him? Anybody tried him? Grandmother said, I tried him one Monday morning. Anybody tried him? One Tuesday morning. Anybody tried him? One Wednesday morning. Anybody tried him? One Thursday morning. Anybody tried him? One Friday morning. Anybody tried him? One Saturday morning. But can I tell you my name? When I tried the Lord, what can I tell you? My name. When I tried the Lord, one Sunday morning. One Sunday morning. He got up in my life. And he all right. He's 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 all right. Y'all do me one favor. If you don't mind tonight, stand to your feet tonight. Ooh, no. If you don't mind tonight, if you don't mind tonight, move out of your sacred zone. Move out of your comfort zone. Go find somebody. Let the Lord lead you. Go find somebody. Wrap your arms around them. Somebody needs to know tonight. Go wrap your arms around them. Rock them and God got you covered. I told y'all tonight. So just hang on, and I'll be back. Let me re-grab my anchor. I told you, God told Israel to just stand still, watch, stand still, and watch. Stand still and watch. Stand still and watch. Can y'all help me one more time? Dr. Botel, can y'all help me one more time? Just slip your arm in your neighbor's arm and say, neighbor, you're moving too much. You're moving too much. You stretch too much. You hurting yourself. Tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, all the Lord wants you to do is stand still and watch her. Stand still and watch her. Stand still and watch her. Watch the Lord see you through her. Oh, ain't he able? Ain't he able? Ain't he able? Shout yeah! Shout yeah! Every time I turn around, Lord, He's blessing me. Every time I turn around, Lord, He's blessing me. Every time I turn around, Lord, He's blessing me. I just lift my hand and say, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. He's blessing me. He's blessing me. Every time I turn around. Anybody else notice that? Even when your enemies count you out, every time I turn around. Y'all follow me now. Even when folks don't know you're around, even when folks think out God shouldn't bless you, but every time I turn around, Lord, He's blessing me. I should be dead, but every time I turn around, I ought to be laying in the hospital, but every time I turn around, I ought to be sleeping in the box, but every time I turn around, they should have been to repo my car, but every time I turn around, they should have been to foreclose on my house, but every time I turn around, He's blessing me. Every time I turn around, Lord, He's blessing me. I can't do nothing else. I can lift my hands and say hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. He's blessing me. Now take what I'm going to do there. I'm going to stay under the blood. I'm going to stay